Hi, I'm Roger Branson and I'm a candidate for House District 23. I became an advocate for consumers and mental health services 35 years ago and I've applied that vocation locally since. About 4 years ago, I committed to full-time volunteer advocacy for the homeless and began embedding myself into the homeless camps to be a resource for the individuals staying in them. Most of these simply had no other place for them to physically be. At the interpersonal level, it has been a very rich, rewarding, and even fulfilling time. I have been intrigued, impressed, and at times in awe of the complex social networks these folks have knitted together for no other purpose than simple survival. The homeless industry and paid service providers have worked hard to break up these social networks, perceiving them as something other than what they are, which has driven these networks away from services and further into reliance on each other for survival. These folks are generally perceived by the public as the most visible and thereby the worst of the homeless population, and as their ranks continue to grow, more and more money keeps pouring into the homeless industry while the general public, for good cause, see the problem getting worse. The last 14 weeks in and around Centennial Campground have been revealing for me personally. The homeless social networks, rife with behavioral health issues, have continued to band together and fared better than those individuals lacking such networks who have fallen prey to a variety of predatory activities. My personal focus has been primarily on the individuals most vulnerable to the negative forces which were allowed access to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Working with a limited number of service providers who were willing to come into camp, as it was dangerous, we moved hundreds of the most vulnerable into services. Those currently left in camp are now, for the most part, a concentration of the homeless social networks, which have become treatment adverse due to how the homeless industry has consistently worked to dismantle those same networks. They literally need each other to survive, yet they have the capacity to, and I believe could be persuaded to, move into behavioral health treatment as groups of individuals. However, the homeless industry has a conflict of interest in allowing this to happen, as the visible portion of homelessness, which drives their funding, will start to dissipate. Another barrier to these folks moving into recovery has to do with privacy and the myriad of societal stigmas which will attach to the individual should their plight and journey through healing be made public. I have experienced these stigmas personally multiple times in my life, and it is debilitating. People who have never experienced this simply lack understanding of how debilitating it is or can be. This has got to be addressed in meaningful ways, or we will soon find ourselves back at square one of solving homelessness. Right now, if we had treatment options available, many, if not most, could be moved into and through treatment, effectively making a big dent in the homeless population by removing those who, for good cause, have become the most averse to recovery and moving on with their lives. The potential humanitarian benefit is unparalleled, in my quite educated opinion. If we truly want to help these people, if we want to actually address homelessness in lasting and meaningful ways, now is the time to act. I beg the good people of my hometown and the city I was born in to step up and make it so. Thank you. I'm Roger Branson, candidate for House District 23. I'm Roger Branson, and I approve this message.